All right, here we are, the Get a Load of These Guys podcast. I've tried to record this episode like 5 or 6 times, but I'm so bad with the tech. I can't figure it out. I spent 12 years writing jokes, learning how to be a comedian, and then all of a sudden they're like, you gotta also now be a sound guy. You need to know about how sound and computers work. And I thought I did, but I don't. I just don't fucking have the slightest clue what I'm doing. I tried to record on my laptop. I usually record on Audacity. And I'm sure there's people out there who are good with podcast. And they're like, why would you record on Audacity? That's stupid. Kept freezing. My computer's a million years old. So now I've just changed to recording just directly on my phone, this microphone into that phone, and I hope that I'm able to post just the video on all platforms. I guess we're gonna find out. I need a podcast nerd. All right, because you gotta be to do a podcast. You either need to be a nerd or you need to have a nerd. And I don't have. Like, I'm not that type of nerd. I'm a different type of nerd. I'm like a Dragon Ball Z nerd. Okay, like I like anime kind of nerd world. You can kind of maybe see behind me. I have if the video is working, I have like Dragon Ball Z statues and figures that I buy just for myself, just to look at, just so I could be like, that's cool, that's nice. But that's about as excited as I will get about it. And you know what, I envy people who are more excited about their interests, because I don't. I hate talking about my like somebody saw me wearing like my Dragon Ball shirt and he's like, hey, cool, you like Dragon Ball Z, man? I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about it. Right? Just for me. I don't want to talk to anybody about it. I wish I was like those guys, like they go watch Harry Potter and they're dressed up in the costume and they're like, holy shit, we fucking love this. And they're crying. Like, oh, I've never cried because I love something so much. But I would love to. It seems very exciting. But this is, yeah, like, who's like the best anime fans are black kids. They're the best anime fans I've ever seen in my life. Because I go to anime conventions and stuff. I'll look around, do my little nerdy stuff there. But black anime fans are the coolest fucking guys ever because they're loud about it. They'll fucking kamehameha each other in the streets. And I think he's actually gonna do a kamehameha. They'll go in full cosplay and they'll appreciate everybody else's cosplay so much. It gives so much, like they find a way to like anime and also fuck. And I don't know how they did it, but I'm very impressed. I fucking here's to the fucking black anime fans. God damn. All of us white anime fans were meek as shit. We're like, oh, even if you have a cosplay, oh, I got a cosplay. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not gonna bring any joy or life to the character though. Yeah, that's why they're fucking amazing at it. And people make fun of that. The sports fan. They're like, look at these nerds over here. But sports fans are fucking nerds too. You ever been to a hockey game? They're all in cosplay. They're all pretending to be the player. They have like the shirt with the guy's name on it. Like, oh, look at us. We're dressed like the guy who's hitting the pucks. And then they yell at other people's kids. It's fucking crazy. I'm drinking cucumber water, uh, which is a new invention that I found out about. I found out because I went to a fancy furniture store and I looked at all these beautiful couches and bookcases, and the bookcases were also ladders for some reason because I guess people like that. That's hip, and I couldn't afford anything. I couldn't afford I couldn't afford a footstool, but they had free water with cucumbers in it, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I can afford a cucumber, so I went and bought a cucumber, and now this is the life I'm living. It's good for your skin, probably. I don't know. I feel like it might be. And now, speaking of water, there's been a lot of it falling out of the sky here in Calgary. We're in a state of emergency. They say, oh, it might flood, which is wild because it's been raining for just 2 days. And they're like, that's enough. That's enough for our city. Like, really, it only takes 2 days of rain for us to almost all die? And they're like, yeah, I guess so, this entire time. I think it's a scam. I think it's just big life jacket coming at us, trying to get our money. Everything's a scam nowadays. Everything's a conspiracy. Yeah, I think ever since COVID happened, there's way more conspiracy people. They all found each other during COVID, during their little rallies. And then they ruin things. They ruin things that I love that I can't even like anymore. Like I love freedom. I love being free. If somebody asks me, like, Tommy, you like being free? I say, you betcha I like being free. But then I see these guys marching down the street going, freedom, freedom. I'm like, oh, well, what do you mean, though? Because I don't think we mean the same thing, right? Because I mean, like, going to the bank on a Sunday, because the banks are usually closed. If the bank was open on a Sunday, like, oh, that's freedom. That's living. I can go to the bank any goddamn day of the week. But for them, they're like, we want maybe old people not to live because we don't want to wear a mask for 2 seconds. And like they confused me the whole time it happened. It finally, like, COVID's on its way out. Oh, maybe. I hope. I hope, like, not just because, it's terrible. Just because I don't want to see these fucking assholes protesting anymore. It's fucking the most annoying thing in the world. They're like, the government's destroying small businesses. You're destroying small businesses. Because you can't go inside of them because you won't put a mask on, you fucking lunatic. But I'm glad it's done. I'm glad we're getting somewhat back to normal. I can go to big events again. I can go buy more of my fucking statues of Dragon Ball Z characters, which I love to do. Yeah, so I got these statues back here, my collectibles. Because that's what you call them when you become an adult. They're statues or collectibles. Because you don't play with toys anymore. Sometimes I walk down the toy aisle at like Walmart and I get mad. I'm like, I can afford all this shit now. Couldn't afford it when I was a kid. I see a kid begging his mom, like, Mom, can I please have this one? I'm like, I could buy 6 of those. He's like, oh, why don't you? I'm like, because I have a job, right? I don't have time for things like toys anymore, right? People find loopholes though to play with toys. They do it in their brains, like the comic book writers and people who design video games and D&D. That's just fucking fantasy hockey. Even that's just playing with toys in your brain, is what that is. Those are the only way, because it is kind of sad a little bit, because like when you're a kid you have a box of toys, it's a box of adventure. Now I have a museum. I'm an adult with a museum, and when I show people when they come over, they're like, what's this? Like, well, I used to be a child, and now I'm a man-child, as you can see, as I have the things. Do not touch them! You still don't want people touching your shit, or to call them toys. For some reason, that hurts when somebody's like, oh, you got a wall full of toys? Like, they're statues. They don't have movable parts. They are for looking at. They are like paintings of my childhood. Anyway. All right, so I'm not sure exactly what this podcast is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, I guess we get a load of guys. So I'll tell you about me. We can get a load of me and where I came from. And I come from a place called Bowden, Alberta. It's a small town. It's well known for its prison, because there's a prison there. There's inmates, not in the town, but just outside the town. We had a guy named Hillbilly. I don't know if that was his real name. I guarantee it wasn't. But we called him Hillbilly, and he owned a pizza joint called Hillbilly's Pizza. And what was unique about this pizza place is that it was 24 hours. You can get pizza any time of the night, which is something that we didn't have in Bowden, so we're very excited about that. Was it actually 24 hours? No. It was only 24 hours because he was living there illegally in the kitchen with just a mattress on the floor, and he was drunk all the time. So, if you knocked on his door at 3 a.m. and said, oh, we're thinking wings, like a good drunk guy, he's going to be like, yeah, wings does sound fucking amazing. And he'd cook you up some wings. He'll burn you a pizza. He burned every pizza he's ever made. Every pizza we ever had there, we're like, oh, he burnt it, but it's 4 a.m. Holy, how are we even doing this? This is wild. Because that's what small town people get excited about. Like, oh, fucking pizza at any hour? We take it for granted here that you can get pizza at any hour. So we were excited. It was either like you go home from the bar and burn your own frozen pizza, or you get this drunk guy who lived at a pizza place to burn the pizza for you. But we would go there. We'd go fucking knock on his door, and he was a lunatic. He fucking I've seen this guy pull a knife 4 or 5 times when we were in there talking about customers coming in. He's like, yeah, this fucking guy came in here and he wanted a pizza, and I said, hey, fuck you. I'm like, you're not. This is bad customer service. But there was no bad reviews of the pizza place. Nobody's like, hey, my pizza's burned. He pulled a knife on me because people were like, I like getting the 4 a.m. pizza. I don't want the 4 a.m. pizza to stop. Don't fuck up my 4 a.m. goddamn pizza. So we tolerate that. So we tolerate a lot in small towns because you tolerate a lot for pizza, right? Because you want it. It's shut down now. It's gotta be because how could that exist? Like there was like a where that pizza place was. There was always a new restaurant every year or a new business, and they all always failed because they were all usually pretty dumb ideas. There was like some guys like I'm gonna have like just vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce from the Ready Mart, and that's all they sold. And they're like, I don't know why it didn't work out. I don't. Maybe is it because that there's only 1,000 people in this town, and not everybody wants ice cream, and I have a limited selection, and they can just go buy it at the store themselves. Is that maybe why? But Hillbilly, uh, I think he lasted the longest because of his 3 a.m. pizza. Because the town was full of mostly drunks. Our mayor was a drunk at the time, or fucking everybody was a goddamn drunk. So one time, I went to my local town bar, and there was a guy there. I don't know who the guy was, but we were sitting there chatting and whatever, and then he challenged me to an arm wrestle. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I've been getting better at arm wrestling. I'll give you for fun, you know. And then the bartender came by and he says, no arm wrestling in here. It causes fights. So I'm like, well, we can't do it. You know, we gotta listen to the old bartender there. And then he just flipped out. He just started going like, I would have fucking destroyed you. You would have been fucking dead. An old guy passed out next to him, woke up, and he's like, well, try arm wrestling an old man. I'm like, what's happening? Is this a cartoon? Why is everybody doing this now? You know, and then the whole bar just ended up erupting into a fight. Yeah, and I was just sitting there like, holy shit, arm wrestling is dumb as shit, right? He said that we can't arm wrestle because it'll cause a fight. And I'm like, this is causing more of a fight. So I told the bartender, I'm like, can I just arm wrestle him and lose so this will be over? And the bartender yelled at me. He's like, no, don't fucking arm wrestle in this bar. It causes fights. But there is fights happening right now all around us. It's terrifying. You know, and I kind of knew a guy there, and he kind of came by and stopped, you know, kind of de-escalated it a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, I better go home because it seems a little crazy, you know. And I was walking home, and then the guy, who I guess was my friend, who de-escalated it, he pulled up in the truck, and he's like, hey, man, I saved your ass back there. I'm like, yeah, man, thanks a lot, dude. Like, I appreciate it. He's like, no, man, I fucking saved your, and like, he was almost threatening me for helping. He's like, I saved your fucking, like he was gonna fight me because he helped me. And they're like, well, if you fight me, that takes away you helping me. It's like this is what the small town was. This is what I left with. Is just everything was fucking bananas all the time, you know. And now look at me. I got my Dragon Ball Z toys. Nobody could do shit. I mean, I guess they could. You know, somebody once broke into my house. Not this house. I had an old apartment, and somebody did break into that apartment, and they went through everything. They went through all my drawers. They stole a leather jacket, and the fucking shitty part about it, and I can even probably roll the clip on here, but the leather jacket that the guy stole, you see him try it on the security camera, and it doesn't fucking fit him. So don't take it. Don't take a jacket if it's too small for you. That's a senseless crime right there. But yeah, they ransacked my house. And then I got home like, holy shit, they went through everything. But you know what they didn't touch? They didn't touch one piece of my collection. It looks like they didn't even go near it. Now, I don't know if it was because they're like, oh, I respect that. You know, he's got his collectibles. He's an adult. He used to have dreams. He used to love playing with toys. Now he just has this. We respect that. Or if they're just like, look at this fucking nerd with his stupid little toys. Ooh, little baby's got his toys. We're not going to touch those. Let the baby keep his toys. We'll take his leather jacket. It wasn't even a real leather jacket. It's not even a cool steal. Oh my God, here's a stolen leather jacket. Like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. It doesn't fit you. Wouldn't fit me anymore either. So, haha, we all gained weight. Anyway, this was the podcast. Thank you for listening. This is the first time we shot it this way, so we don't know how it's going to turn out or if it's going to be good at all. Usually isn't that great, but we're working on it. Whatever. Let's get a load of these guys. Have a great night.